Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Beacon in the Storm. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton. Today, we have a very special guest with us. We have Mark Larocca. Hey there, Mark. How's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
It is a beautiful sunny day in Las Vegas. I have just gotten over the crud. I feel great. I cannot wait to do this interview.
Glad to hear it.
So, Mark, why don't we begin by you just tell us a little bit about yourself and we'll go from there.
Sure. So I am I guess you'd say, consummate entrepreneur. I've bought, sold, and failed at business for the past, I'd say, 40 years. I am a Christian that today helps other Christian business owners bring faith into their business life. I traditionally work with CEOs and other leaders here in Northwest Indiana. I am married with a wonderful wife of over 27 years and two grown adult children.
Fantastic. All right,
Yes.
Mark. So I start every interview with what I believe is a simple question. So I'm going to ask you, like I ask everybody else, but what do you believe it means to be a man?
What do I believe it means to be a man? I believe to be a man in today's society means, most importantly, to keep your word and to do what you say you're going to do, to protect those around you, especially your family, and be loyal to and glorify God with all your heart, soul, and mind.
Wonderful. I people give me answers like that all the time, and you're going to be the first one I'm going to ask. So you asked, don't you said don't give any stinger questions, but can a woman not do those things as well?
She could, but she's not a man.
There you go. Okay. All right. Now, the purpose of this show is to help lead men to Jesus. I want to help them to find the path, find the ability to get down on their knees and realize that there is a power greater than themselves that helps guide them, that is there for them, that loves them. And so I like to ask, why do you think faith in Jesus is so important?
Well, I think we all, as human beings on this earth, have to have some sort of anchor, some compass. And having faith in Jesus, in my opinion, is the only true anchor. Uh, and without it, you are just kind of a ship floating around in the sea with nothing to guide you, with nothing to support you, especially when times get difficult. And therefore, having Christ in your life and having a relationship with Him uh, is not going to be easy, but it's definitely an anchor.
Okay. Now, how do we lead men to Jesus? That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm learning from people just like you how I can do this better, but what does it take in order to be able to take someone who may be doubtful, may have never heard of him before, and get them to have a relationship?
I think before we can disciple others and uh, guide them towards Christ, we have to have a relationship with them first. And that's probably the most difficult thing in today's society because uh, people today are standoffish, they are afraid to engage with others. So I think the hardest thing for us to do is to first have a relationship with someone, because without that, how are they going to trust you to even have a conversation about deeper things? And that may not even be faith to start with. But like we started the conversation, I mean, I think with most younger people today and older folks, with people, period, the question is, what do you believe and why do you think you're here? Um, so I don't even really start those conversations with faith.
Okay, how so you lead a business group and you said it's faith-based. So how does that work? Is it they all come in Christian, or have you had any individuals who weren't sure and were looking for a path?
Yeah. So almost all of the folks that we have that come into our forum, our group C12, are Christians. The question becomes how Christian are they? So, what we would say is they need to be Christian enough to believe the whole Bible is wholly true and that Jesus Christ is Lord in their life. Those are really 40,000-foot things. So I think everybody, me included, we're all in different places in our faith journey. So, but to answer your question, they come in as Christians.
Okay.
So I'm not like sharing the gospel with them, so to speak.
Okay. And how does it work in your group? Is it more faith-based? Is it more business-based? How does that work?
Yes.
Yes.
So
All of the
our
above.
goal, our goal in our forums at C12 are to help those owners not only build great businesses through biblical principles, but also to grow in their faith journey through multiple different avenues as business leaders. So it could be in their marriage, it could be in discipling other people that are in their business. So there's a lot of different avenues that we work on throughout. Those, we spend a whole day in that group working on those things.
Okay. And where do you find that most men are having difficulty if they are? What aspect of their life or their faith or their business, what's holding people back?
I'd like to say everything. Everybody's got different struggles. Like, so this month we talked about, Abel and Cain and how sin is crouching at the door. I think we all have different challenges. The difference, I think, as a C12 group gels and as men gel together, and we have women in our group too, but vulnerability will become apparent. And so when people share the challenges they face and have, and they realize that other people have it or have a similar challenge, the intimacy will occur. And I think the biggest thing with Christians is, like, you're not alone. You're not the first one to have this challenge or issue. And then secondly, outside of that group, they'll have accountability with those other members, but more on a one-on-one basis. So I wouldn't say it's like, oh, well, this is the challenge they have. But the biggest thing with business owners, I believe, is that they are alone. They feel alone. So once they kind of come into this group and they feel as though they're gelling with it, and kind of like those guards come down and vulnerability occurs, and then intimacy, you start to see real challenges that they face. And that's always good.
I'd like to touch on that vulnerability point a little bit more, because societally, we believe that men should not be vulnerable. They're supposed to be tough. They're supposed to be rugged. They're supposed to be kind of emotionless. They're allowed to be angry, but that's about it. And here you are saying, well, it's okay to be vulnerable. But how does that jive?
It's a challenge for sure. It's a challenge for me. I'll say that for one. But I think that once these members have that, it's a safe place, it's confidentiality is occurring, they open up, because again, they are alone. So when they're around that table with other CEOs and other leaders, and they're like, wow, Joe's got this issue, and Susan discussed some of these things, which I never thought a woman would talk about. Their guards come down and they open up, and it's good for them. They need to do that because they can't do it at work. And so there's some things you don't want to talk about with your wife. So we're real big on accountability and vulnerability.
Okay.
So.
Now, what if someone has a crisis of faith? Maybe they have fallen out of the faith, or they're having doubts. How can we help bring them back in and find Christ again?
That's a great question. I wish I had the answer to that question.
I sent it to you in advance.
Yeah, I know. I think that, for me, at least what I've experienced is you take them back to the Word, and specifically to the Word in terms of the crisis they're having. Typically, what I have found is that people who are in crisis are usually in some sort of besetting sin. And so, therefore, you're addressing the sinful nature of their behavior and then the path in which that took them down. And then to show them that God is still faithful, God still loves you. You're just because you know you may be having this crisis. God's not having this crisis. God is secure in your salvation through His Son. So I like to position this in a fashion of, let's go back to the Word. Let's talk about how you got here, and let's talk about the next steps on how are you going to move out of this. And I like to have those conversations too, not just with me, but especially if it's with another, man with multiple men in that room. So,
And outside of the business group, how are you working to promote the word elsewhere?
so we've got a number of different initiatives that go on here in Northwest Indiana. We're actually starting another group called New Canaan Society. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but New Canaan Society is a group that is around the country. I'm not 100% sure how many chapters they have now, but we have one here in Wheaton, Illinois, which isn't too far from us in Northwest Indiana. And it's a real simple format where a speaker will come in, they'll give their testimony. They're traditionally business owners. There's some questions. We have breakfast, we have coffee, and then there's some fellowship. It's really fast. It's about hour and a half. But the idea is for believers and men to not only share their faith, but their vulnerabilities, some of the challenges they've had, maybe some of their failures. But it's the thing I like about this is it's not denominational. And here in Northwest Indiana, and I think this is in a lot of places, we have a lot of churches in town. And we tend to get off in our, little church circles, and that's not bad. But we're trying to use New Canaan to bring men together of all different faiths and also unbelievers. So we encourage, hey, bring your neighbor, bring your friend, bring a coworker, and they don't have to be Christians, and they hear a gospel message through the speaker. So that's another thing that we're doing. I'm involved in a lot of different charities and things like that, but from a discipleship point of view, my main work is with leaders, also in our church, as well as outside of our church, through not only this organization, but many others. So.
Wonderful. All right. This one's not on the list, but what's your favorite passage of scripture?
I really like the book of Ephesians, but C12, we're known for Ephesians 2:10, for we are His workmanship created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. So that's really one of my favorite scriptures, even though it's a C12 one. I still really like a lot.
Beautiful. All right, Mark, this has been a fantastic interview. Thank you so much. If anyone wanted to reach out to you, how could they do that?
They could do it via probably LinkedIn, Facebook. Those would probably be the two best spots.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much, Mark. This has been wonderful.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And for everybody else, I'm going to remind you all, keep looking for the light in the tempest. God will show you the way. Fantastico.
Good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Couple closing things. If you could please send me a photograph of yourself. If you don't, I have to take a still from this or find something of you online or AI generate something. I'll find a way to get a photo of you.
I'll send you a picture.
And then the only other thing I ever ask my guests is, if you happen to know anybody else who'd be willing to come on and essentially answer the same questions about faith and how we lead men to Christ, I'd love to have them, whether they're a business leader, a faith leader, political leader, or anything in between.
Yeah.
They don't even have to be a man. Like, I've had plenty of women come on and tell me what they think a man is.
Yeah, That's a good one. I'm thinking of we have a member that's she owns spas, medical spas. She'd be good for you to interview.
I'd love that. Yes, please. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Her name's Pam Neitzel. So I'll send an email introducing you to her when I send you my picture, which I'll do like now because otherwise I'll forget it.
Thank you. Hopefully you weren't too nervous at the start there. You opened up toward the end, I'll say.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I got through my first 3 questions. I'm like, we're only 4 minutes in. I need to like start dancing here.
Smart. Yeah, you can't kick me under the table, can you?
No, it's all good. I've had guests. So I asked the first question. What do you believe it means to be a man? And we're now 10 minutes into the interview. I'm like, I gotta hustle. Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, good.
But
well, awesome. I'll introduce you to Pam right now, and I'll send you a picture. I think I have my one from LinkedIn.
Okay. What I will do is I have calls until about 1 p.m. Pacific today. Once that's done, I'll edit this up, upload it to YouTube, and then send it over to you for your review. If you want anything edited, changed, just let me know. I will schedule this to come out Tuesday of next week.
Okay. Awesome.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Glad you're feeling better.
Me too. All right, Mark. You have a good one.
All right, we'll see you. Yep. Bye.